So you need to kind of become comfortable with drawing and dividing by sight. So what I mean by that is being able to just draw a straight line, a vertical line, and then make a division like 1/2, or finding your thirds. So kind of eyeballing it. And this takes some time and practice, but it's important to be able to do kind of quickly and on the fly, like whenever you need to. So like halfway point, and then this will be able to get you your quarters pretty easily. And then also on a horizontal axis, important to be able to find those divisions as well. And then once you find your thirds, you also be able to find sixths as well, which we're not really going to talk about sixths, but you can always measure, check yourself by using the tip of your pencil and your thumb and kind of just checking. Another thing you want to maybe just practice doing is symmetrical shapes, like the oval and a circle. These are really helpful shapes to be able to draw. And the more you practice, the better you get. Drawing with your whole arm can help you draw more accurately than just drawing with your fingers. And notice I'm drawing light. It's always a good idea to start a drawing with very light lines, because when you start light, you're able to erase any mistakes that you might make early on. And early on, usually you make mistakes. It's very common. Whereas if you go in really hard too soon, really bold, you're going to make a mistake and you're going to try to erase and you're going to be unsuccessful. So as you can see, I very easily erased my lightly drawn circle, but this is there for life because I drew it too hard the first time. So once you have, like let's say you're drawing the form of the mouth and you're not exactly sure where it's going to go, but you're getting it. Once you have established a general drawing with light lines for a form, after you get it the way you want it, then you can go back in and add some darker lines, and you can choose where those dark lines will go. Not all of it has to be dark. So it actually frees you up. It gives you more freedom to decide, okay, where are my dark lines going to go? Where are my lighter lines going to go? So another, once I draw that, I realize I want to tell you just one more thing about form, like the features. A general shape you can use for an eye is kind of this type of shape. The iris, the round part of the eye, the color part of the eye, is generally 1/3 of the length of the entire eye. The nose can be represented with a V. It could be like a very shallow V showing kind of a wider nose, or a more narrow V showing a more narrow nose. To get a little bit more advanced with the nose, you give it a little bit of a curve at the bottom and these two little sides. You notice that I'm leaving my forms open forms instead of closing up the forms with the lines, because once you start closing up your forms, you interfere with the three-dimensionality of the face and the head as a whole. Leaving the forms open can contribute to that three-dimensional feel, because these forms are not existing in just space. They're attached to a larger mass underneath, which is the mass of the head. So leaving the forms open will contribute to that feeling that they're actually attached to something bigger behind. The ear can be represented just kind of using a basic shape, kind of like an egg, an open egg with a little S inside. So just that's the note about making divisions, halves, thirds, drawing lightly, and the basic shape for the features as you're practicing. Now remember, this is a model, okay? This is not necessarily supposed to look like a realistic person. This is a way for you to learn proportions so that you can draw unique individuals. Like let's say you think, oh wow, this person has really large eyes. Well, the only reason you know they have large eyes is because you know what the norm is, or you know what your model is. If someone has large hands, you're noticing the fact that they're large because, well, you know what normal is. So we're just kind of establishing what is our norm, what is our model. So I'm going to start with just drawing a sphere as best as I can. A circle doesn't have to be perfect. And then I'm like estimating where the middle is. And remember, to draw the bottom of the face, we're going to find the half and drop it down because we need these measurements. Now we have our thirds. So we have our central vertical line, and this is a third, and this is a third. So now we're going to also find our halfway point, which looks like it's about here. And to check ourselves, we're just going to take a measurement here, and it looks pretty accurate. So that's good to hear. And then this is going to represent our widest point of our head. And remember, the eyes fall in the center. We're going to go ahead and draw the line out to the side to represent where the eyes will be. I'm going to write eyes there. And remember, this is our brow line. Remember, from the skull. This is going to be around where the bottom of the nose is. And then let's go ahead and break this part up into thirds. And we'll break this up into thirds as well. And we have the hairline happening around here. Remember, these are estimates. And then around this bottom third will be the bottom of where the lips are. Now remember, the eyes are 1/5 the width of the head. So since this is our widest point, we're going to get our 5th measurement here. And so remember, this is the brow line. So our eyes don't go there, but I'm getting the length of the eye using the whole width of the head. So I'm just going to eyeball it and drop down. So this is where my eyes are going to kind of go out from. You can see I'm kind of lining it up there. Dropping that down. Now I'm going to go ahead and drop in my iris. Remember, it's about 1/3 of the length. Circle. About 1/3 of the length of the whole thing. Here we have vertical lines at the corners of the eye. We're dropping down to show where is our nose going to go. Remember, I said we could do a shallow V, or you could get a little bit curved. Now, a lot of people have noses that are a little wider than this. Some people have noses that are a little more narrow. It really does vary person to person. Generally speaking, there's about an eye height between the eye and the eyebrow. The eyebrow usually extends beyond where the end of the eye is, so it's a little bit longer than the eyes. And eyebrows can vary a lot in terms of their shape. Here we're doing relatively thin brows. Now I'm going to come down on the inner part of the iris with a vertical line, the inner part of the iris on both eyes. I'm going to draw a little triangle going down, a narrow triangle. Somewhere between these two, I'm going to draw a little, this is going to be part of my M. I'm going to establish the center of my lips somewhere between these two lines. I'm going to kind of just do a shallow bowl or U. And then I'm going to create the rest of my M. I feel like that upper lip might be a little large. So these are going to be the corners of the mouth. And then I'm going to find the bottom of my lip. Now remember, you want to keep the form open for right now. And then give the lips opening a little bit of definition here. And lips vary also in their thickness, as I'm sure you know. All right, so remember, we have the widest part of the head here. I'm going to go ahead and give myself a vertical line coming down just so I have a rectangle in which to work. I'm going to just kind of lightly work on an oval, dropping down to the chin and up again on the other side as symmetrically as possible. Now, jawlines vary from different individuals. You also have your cheekbone. So your cheekbone is going to be between this halfway point and this third line. So the bottom of the nose and the bottom of the eye. This is going to be the widest point of the face. And some people, depending on weight and height, weight, maybe age, are going to have more pronounced cheekbones than others. Now, even though this is the widest point of the head, you don't see it because it's blocked by the hair. And then here, it's going to go in. And some people have more pronounced jawlines than others. And then ears usually fall somewhere between where the eye is and then where the bottom of the nose is. Our tendency is to make ears a little bit too small. And then there are a lot of different kinds of ear shapes as well. And remember, the hairline varies depending on male, female, age, of course. And a lot of times you don't even see that line of the hair. Like if someone has long hair, it's going to come down. And there's always thickness above the top of the skull. The skull defines the general shape, but hair can be, as you know, many different shapes depending on hairstyle, the actual thickness of an individual's hair. So these are the basics. I have now gone beyond my 15-minute limit. Also, I wanted to get to the neck, but we'll talk about the neck at a different point in time. So that's the basics to get you started on working on a self-portrait. Have fun. Change your jawline, change your lip shape. You could even change your eye shape to figure out different ways of making different types of people, male, female, even different races by changing the shapes of things. You can experiment with that a little bit if you want to.